Hello, boys. I'm back.
Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Robot Wars episode reviews. We're on to episode 11 of Extreme, and this is the Flipper Frenzy episode. And joining me today, we have Alexthehunted.
I'm back and ready for some fun-filled fanatics with a flippability factor in a fire arena, and fuck, I can't think of any more F words.
Press F for respect. And his glorious return, I say glorious, but I don't know. I never even noticed he'd gone, honestly. It was Anderson9132.
Cheers. Woo. I'm back, I guess.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's only because they paid me a tenner to come back. That's the only reason why.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you back. I mean, it's been like, what, 3 or 4 months now since you've been on an episode?
Yeah. Last podcast I did with you, I think, was September.
Wow. Okay, wow. I didn't even start my PhD then. So...
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Doing your PhD, but fuck your PhD, you're here to talk about robots.
Oh, indeed, yes, and this was an episode that I kind of forgot about when I first watched it, but when we watched it today, it's actually really good, this episode, actually, for what it's worth.
Apart from one infamous fight.
Of course, but there's even entertainment value in that infamous fight. But I guess we'll start with the challenge belt, which was Tornado defending it against Wild Thing, and finally a good challenger for Tornado,
yes.
for a change. I mean, someone like Come and Getrix, really? So, yeah.
It was kind of sealed the deal when you knew who was in the battle, wasn't it? I mean, Tornado is not going to lose that.
That's true.
But yeah, with Wild Thing, it's such a shame that maybe they should have taken off the disc for that fight and just have it be a pure wedge.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, my only problem really was with the Wild Things of Series 5 was the fact that I felt the disc was a bit unnecessary. I mean, I can understand why you wanted to put it in, might cause some damage and stuff, but it just got in the way of the wedge, when really the wedge and the flipper was their kind of, where the flipper would have been a good combination. But this was an amazing fight. I can't play past anything.
I forgot just how impressive Tornado was in Extreme 1. I mean, it dominated the majority of this fight.
But that being said, like looking back at this fight, because I thought it was just like basically a Wild Thing beatdown. But looking back to Wild Thing, gets some good moments on Tornado. Obviously, it's worthy. And towards the end, actually, Tornado was dead at the end of the fight.
It was still moving a bit, I think, but it was more active, and that's Wild Thing's best trait, wasn't it? You can never kill it almost. It just keeps going and going, and it looked so battered by the end of it, the amount of times that the disc had hit it. I mean, hell, it lost a bit of armor in the back at one point, but it just kept going like it hadn't got affected.
What I love about this... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say it keeps going. Carry on. Sorry.
It's all right. What I love about this fight is it's a stellar performance from both machines. Tornado does the majority bot kicking, way hey for puns, and does all the but like Alex said, Wild Thing. This is why Wild Thing's one of my favorite robots as well. It never gives up. It still kept coming back for more. It didn't quit. It didn't just like run away or anything. It kept trying to get stuck into the action, and both machines were very well driven by their respective drivers. I mean, Nick Adams especially, and also Andrew Marchant. I mean, when you think of best drivers, you think Graham Bone, George Francis. You never really hear these two get mentioned, and I think that's a shame because both of them really knew how to drive their machines to great success, and this battle proves it.
I mean, yeah, I gotta say with Wild Thing's one of my what makes me love Wild Thing is just I keep on saying it. This fight proves it. It will never die.
Except if Sean O'Lowry drives it and somehow manages.
No, it didn't die. It wasn't dead in that fight. Like, it wasn't completely dead. But it's like Wild Thing will never die. I mean, it takes. If you look back at some of Wild Thing's fights, even in Series 6, it takes some of the biggest beatings in Robot Wars, but it never dies.
Yeah, especially against 259, it's constantly thrashed about with a spinner, and yet still manages to outlive it. It
was picked apart by Razor. I mean, it lost against Razor, but it was still working.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Tornado can't even say that against Razor. It has broken down against Razor in the All-Stars final, so it's just an amazing robot, and this fight was great anyway. Yeah.
I think what it was is that they ran it on steroids. Sorry.
No, it was that was what Allison's back, folks.
Yay!
You can tell he's
I'll
back.
leave now. See you later. Bye.
You just for that, you're not getting your 10 over now.
Actually, what I will say also about this fight with Wild Thing, it shows what Wild Thing's always really good at is Wild Thing. If you watch most fights, it will get the shit kicked out of it in the first half of the fight, but then it'll always come back in the latter half.
It's a very late game. Very late game. Oh,
I had a good laugh, you know. Oh, I hate the judges. They never watch when we do well.
Nick Adams is actually quite underrated in like a lot of aspects, not just in the driving, just the fact he's a very good sport, and also, I mean, I imagine he was great in the pits as well. I'm sure he helped out a lot of people.
He always came off as nervous to me on camera. Like you see him sometimes, like he's always holding his arm.
Well,
yes.
In fairness, as we know, these people aren't TV stars. They're not meant to be on. They're just people who have appeared on TV because they're robots. And you get people in the modern series. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you get people like Harry Hills, who's not the he's not the most active on camera. He's not a Craig Dambier or a Gabe or something like that. Or any of the Polo guys who are willing to play up for the camera. He's a lot of people more reserved, and I guess it's just that. I guess that kind of makes you like him more because he's not always like in your face like
Fair play to Tornado for a very deserved win as well.
Yeah.
Although
what I would say is now they've got the belt, like they won the belt. I always thought that winning the belt off the current holder shouldn't count as one of the 3 wins.
No, it's just a bit cheating.
Because Behemoth got the belt and they had to win it 3 times. Like they didn't like if it was the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I don't know.
Like I would have said, like, oh, you've taken the belt off them. Now you've got to win it 3 times.
It makes more sense because Behemoth didn't have to like fight 1 and then go right. Now you have to fight 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who gave them the belt in the first place because obviously Behemoth was like dominating the first half extreme and the second half was all Tornado.
So who's the current? I wonder who the current holder of the challenge belt is because it's not. I know Tornado doesn't have it anymore.
It's Worm. Everyone knows Worm has it.
Yeah, man.
Totally. But yeah, this was an amazing fight. Can't play. Both robots performed well, and it was honestly one of the best openings to a heat I've ever seen on Extreme in a while. I mean, pretty much every single fight has something to talk about, even if it's not, the best, as we'll get to in a few ones later. But then we have the tag team. Now we have the tag team terror with it was gonna be Deitor and the Morgue versus Comagetrix and Spawn again, but the Morgue broke down. They lost some of their speed controls.
Well, they said they blew up 3 speed controls, and I think I know which ones it was. It was obviously their first tag team fight, then their fight with Ming, and then their fight with Plunderbird.
So they only brought 3 with them. For some reason. So I guess even they
considering that watching those fights, Morgue does nothing.
It's quite surprising.
How it blew out the speed controllers is a wonder.
So is it confirmed that the Morgue guys even had low expectations of themselves? So they thought, we're not going to have more than 3 fights.
That's the reason why Mini Morgue was made for Series 5, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
They weren't impressed with Mega Morgue, hence why they built Mini Morgue.
Yeah, but in its place
that worked wonders.
But as of course, the producers wouldn't be, idiotic to, they'd probably give a robot that's, the same kind of level as Morgue. They gave him, I don't know.
I mean, they gave bigger brother Major Tom.
Yeah, so you think, he might give him something, I don't know, normal, maybe give him Ming 3, maybe, I don't know, something relatively at least doable. But no, it's going to form a grand finalist, Pussycat. Why not?
The rank 2 robot.
Yes, and
arguably the best driver in the history of Robot Wars at the controls.
And the funniest thing about this fight is that let's take 2 robots, Deitor and Pussycat, who, with varying degrees of success, have at least are both very reliable. They're like Wild Thing; they just won't die. They never really break down. And a problem against 2 robots, Comagetrix and Spawn again, who always break down. So,
and this is one of the fights that proves how unreliable these 2 robots are, because time and time again, both these robots just stop.
Although this is one of the few fights I've seen where Comagetrix actually lasts the full 5 minutes, at least.
It ends up in the pit.
And it almost ends up in the pit. I think they're trying to commit suicide.
It itself right into the pit at the end.
Can't get off the pit because Spawn again's in the way.
It couldn't even commit suicide because its teammate had taken its place.
What I will say though, and this is, in all fairness, this is mainly for Deitor's sake. Pussycat did fuck all in this fight. Deitor got all the major attacks in. Pussycat just got flipped around by Spawn again. And also, in the Tag Team Terror final, there was like a sort of 2-way battle going on. You had suicidal tendencies and pussycat fighting, and you had Steel Avenger and Dietor fighting, and Dietor owned Steel Avenger, but suicidal tendencies was taking on pussycat easily. So if anything, Dietor was the stronger of the two. In both battles they fought them together. Maybe they turned around and said, "Look, if you're going to be part of the team, just dumb yourself down a bit, make Dietor feel good."
I mean, I don't think was Pussycat's blade even working in this fight?
Barely. I mean, it wasn't really spinning that many times, and honestly, Spawn again was really dominating against them in the first, and then of course Spawn again does, it thinks to itself, I haven't broken down in 2 minutes yet. Hold on, done.
It does it like 3 times in this fight where it's driving on and then it just stops for about 10 or so seconds.
Was that maybe like interference issues or maybe something internal? I'm not really sure, but it does
because both these robots suffer from interference issues. I mean, the first tag team terror battle that they had against Major Tom and Bigger Brother, that actually had to be stopped early because all the robots were barely working because of radio reception problems.
And also Bigger Brother's flipper was not working in that fight either.
No, it was not, and it didn't really work too well in the flipper frenzy afterwards.
Yeah. But yeah, goddamn, like I said, like Come and Get Her does what it always does. It drives and then it just stops.
Yeah, and it didn't even, when you're getting owned by Dietor, there's something, that you might not be the best partner in a tag team terror. Let's just say that.
I just can't believe how much of Robot was Extreme Come and Get Her is in.
Yeah, and it just does nothing every time. I mean, in fairness, this is one of the things. Like, in fairness, I don't really hate Come and Get Her or Verse and go to any of the robots in that line. I mean, I love the team so much. This team is, I mean, I think they kind of know they're not the best team in the world. They just kind of play themselves up, and I just love every time I see it. I love that intro they have. They say the team members, "No, this is Tom. He's just asleep."
This is the sleeping Tom.
Yeah, I love that. There's so much personality.
They have sarcasm written on the front. Well, at least at least it's not what they should have put on before.
I mean, this is the team who I think they put like "fuck you" or something like that.
They put "cunt."
They put the word "cunt," and that was actually a word that was "ayunt," I think. But they actually did later write "fuck you" on the Series 3 one, and no one noticed because it was in Latin. So yeah, that was I love this team. The robots again, they don't perform the best, but you know what? I'd rather have a good team, like Sir Chrome Law. I'd rather have a good team with an okay performing or to mediocre performing robot than a team that. There's a certain team. Okay, we're just delaying the inevitable Napalm thing, but this was the Dietor show. Let's just face it.
I mean, if you say Come Get Her lost to Hydra, which was basically Come and Get Her if it worked.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And then what happens? They get flipped out the arena by gravity or onto a camera. So that was the worst way to go. But yeah, Dietor and Pussycat winning that was. Even though you can think, oh, Dietor's there, honestly, looking at the robot's history and especially how they are in Series 5 and 6 and that kind of stuff, it was predictable, this one, honestly. It wasn't the biggest surprise, especially because you have a grand finalist on your team, but yeah, it was still a very fun fight.
Something I've always noticed about Dietor is, it's like, looking back, like, when it wins, it usually wins in a great fight, but when it loses, it usually loses in a really quick or shit fight.
That's most of the time. Like every single time it's been flipped over, it's like in 2 seconds. Against Ming 2, against Firestorm, against Spawn again. Oddly enough, again, with the Big Cheese, all their fights involving flipping are really shit. But when they actually when they're given a good fight against Tornado, against even one Sticking 2 in Steel Avenger in Series 3, they actually do get something relatively okay. They actually have a chance to shine, which is always great. And again, the Dietor boys never fail to impress me. So. And now they've got an Iron Ore 7 body, you never know. We might see more of them now. But, yeah, Dietor and Pussycat winning this. And then, of course, the wild card battle with Dominator 2 versus the Executioner. one of the two, I think one of the few robots that actually made it into the main competition, along with, obviously, Axor as well. And they did a little bit better, a little bit
I gotta wonder when this fight was filmed, because if you see the Executioner in Series 5, it's got all, like, the decals and everything on it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Maybe, and in this one, it's just bare. It's just a bare robot.
Maybe some of it got damaged.
Filmed just before.
Maybe they just took some of it off. But yeah, this fight is infamous because.
But what makes me think that is if when you look back, you see Dominator. Dominator's got its hypnodisc scars on it.
Yeah, I must have been filmed after, maybe, but...
Must have been filmed after then, yeah.
Yeah, because it must have said, oh, can you hang around for a bit, you're a wildcard warrior, even though they've already qualified, but whatever. But it's the fact that, this fight was infamous, because it's probably the worst of the wildcard battles, because, well, literally, they fail 3 times to hit the pit button, and then drive into the pit.
This is the fastest self-pitting.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, though.
It was hilarious.
I still wet myself watching this battle. I still can't help but laugh at it. It's just the fact that it took them that long to open the pit, and then they drive in.
It was just
come on.
It was just harking back to like Series 2 with Elvis, when even Sandra Ash was like, "Oh, come on, just I'll get the ball in the goal for you." But with one bit of defense, the only bit of defense I can put on the Executioner side is the fact that a lot of people can consider it the same thing as something like Shredder or Kilohertz, where it was just drove into the pit with no real kind of resistance. But if you actually watch the fight, it gets caught, the front of the little wedge bit gets caught on top of the wedge of Dominator 2 as it's trying to move forwards, and then of course Dominator 2 moves forward, turns the thing around, and they happen to be spinning forward at that particular point, and while it was a bit of slight sloppy driving, but also a hilarious moment, it's not as bad as some people say it is, in my opinion. I think it was just very unlucky where they positioned, but it was still funny though. It was just of how, I can't forgive the bit with the pit button though. That was bad.
Yeah, I mean, they must have learned a lot from this, because remember Series 7 Executioner? That was okay. Never mind.
Yeah. The one with the blade, the blade that's about about half the length of my arm, yet only 6 about a millimeter.
It's a petrol powered blade. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the guys who decided to make a really big disc and then only have a millimeter of it stick out of the robot.
But then again, they did it with the first Executioner. Let's have a really long robot with a tiny little beak.
Yeah, that's true. But God,
the Series 7 Executioner is a slightly better version, and I use that term very loosely, of Dr. Fist.
Yeah, but Dr. Fist just...
When you think about it. Dr. Fist is arse.
Yeah, I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of Dr. Fist. I agree with you, but I still don't like Dr. Fist as much.
No, but... that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a slightly better version of Dr. Fist, because there's nothing worse than Dr. Fist.
Do you know what? It's getting sad when we're talking about Dr. Fist as opposed to a battle, at least. In fairness, I actually don't mind the design of the execution of this one. I think the only thing that really they could have improved is probably making the wedge wider, because it's so narrow to get onto any robot. But I think apart from that, I actually kind of like the look of it. It's not...
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for the execution. I can...
I'll say, if you look at it when it appeared in BattleBots, its BattleBots appearance, it looks way better in that, because it's got like side exhaust and everything.
Oh yeah, what do they call it?
As the Peacemaker.
In
Robot Combat, Peacemaker. No, fuck off. That's a stupid name.
Get it? But I do kind of like it for what it's worth. Out of a lot of the wildcard warriors, I'm kind of glad this was one of the ones that made it in, because it at least looks nice. I can't really take it away from the team. It looks nice. Again, the driving skill really was the thing, but as a newcomer, it's kind of understandable the driving wouldn't be the best. It's not... in the Series 7 one, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do like this one slightly more, just for the fact it looks like a robot more than...
Compared to some of the other ones that are wildcard warriors, like...
AJ?
Oh, God, yeah, AJ's probably one of the most forgettable-looking robots of all time.
It's just a round... It looks like they tried to make a reality and failed, almost. But yeah, I would say Dominator 2 dominated, but they didn't even have to do anything. In fairness, they actually were the ones who technically did kind of cause the execution to fall in. But yeah, it's a non-fight really. The only highlights is, when the highlights are a robot going in the pit and a robot failing to hit the pit button. You know, it's a quick fight.
Craig says it's best himself. He's like, there's no point really talking to you, is there?
No. Actually, Craig was really on point in this episode. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. And in all fairness, fair play to the Executioner team. They took this loss so well. They had a great laugh about it. When he turned around and said, I'm going to ask the audience, do you think we should allow this? He's like, yeah. And then he said, they're not sure. I was like, I wouldn't be, to be fair.
You'd have to be an absolutely sour... grouch to not be able to say that lightly, because it's just such a dumb mistake. No, but they to do such a dumb mistake that the Bolt from the Blue, they're still he's still salty about it.
Well, you could be Team Mute and shout at each other when you drove into the pit.
No. But yeah.
I watched that back recently. That New Blood where muted. They were full on shouting at each other.
Yeah, they were getting into it, weren't they? It was like Gabe all over again. But yeah, Wildcard Warriors really dominated too them to do much, and Execution lost. But at least we get to see them in Series 5 where they lose in the first round again. So you know what? It's something.
Well, they put on a much better fight against Pussycat anyway.
Yeah, actually, it was a better fight, and also they were against the grand finalists, so it was expected. But at least it was good. Yeah. Then we get to the Mayhem battle. Okay, now. This is the funniest thing about the Mayhem battle is that you've got Napalm 2, the Spider, and Gemini. Spider's got a lot to prove after they're kind of flipped out the arena by Behemoth. You've got Napalm 2, who have nothing to prove because they're Napalm, and Gemini, which at least something. They got an okay fight against Razor, I guess. So, it'd be nice to come back again. It's clearly their fight. They're going to win it. No, of course they are, because they put a bar on it, which made it they couldn't self-right. Genius.
They solved one problem and caused another one.
And it actually caused them the fight in Series 5. The same thing happened to them. And that's how they lost the reactor too. And
that's the problem. The problem with the wheelie bar is it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't. If it was more closer to the wheels, that wouldn't have happened.
No, exactly, but unfortunately that's where they decided to put it, and it's kind of a shame, because Gemini's one of those robots that I think in Series 4 was at least, unique or something, and its flipper, to its credit, was pretty good. Like, it did it managed to flip the...
In Series, I would say it must have had reliability issues, because you can see in quite a few of it fights, one of them flippers would work really well, while the other one would barely work.
I think it comes down to the fact that in Series 4, I don't think they actually adjusted... I don't think they adjusted the flippers to be able to flip for the weight height of 100 kilograms. Everyone was 80 back then maximum, and obviously you saw the fact that in Series 4 it was able to make the creature go a full 360 before flipping out the arena. While here, it would even against Rough Dougal in Series 5, it had problems just lifting it as opposed to let alone flipping it.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like you can see, one of the Gemini twins could flip really well, while the other one really couldn't. One of them was definitely having problems most of the time.
I think it also initially comes down to the fact they've got two robots to work on. And it's a lot of work. It's twice the amount of work on two different robots. When one problem both might have the same problem, so you have to fix one. And then it's like, like in Robot Arena 2, and you have a certain amount of time. It's like, well, I've just got to go in without a broken weapon or something, and then try and do your best. It's quite a lot of maintenance.
All the problem that wasn't fixed by this point with flippers that they didn't realize they couldn't really think about how to fix was flippers that couldn't retract.
Yeah.
Like Gemini's had a problem with if it was on its side, it couldn't retract the flipper.
That's true. And this fight, really, the Spider was kind of... Actually, to the Spider's credit, it was... okay, I know it's Napalm 2, but they were kind of dominating Napalm 2 at the beginning of the year. The weapon was actually working...
For 10 seconds, and then it got stuck on the pit and died.
Yeah, and we have talked about the Spider before, and the Spider's... My problem with the Spider, plain and simple, is the fact that I think the weapon was a little bit too far from the... it is a Robot Arena 2 robot. You just... two weapons on the side of it. But also, I think its other problem is that if you notice, that chain that drives the weapon is so exposed. It fell off, didn't it, after hitting Napalm a couple of times?
Let's be honest, pretty much all of the Spider was exposed.
Yes.
The reason why is because it was overweight, so they had to remove armour.
Yeah, and unfortunately that meant the weapon would never work half the time. But
great way to learn from your mistakes, guys. They entered in RoboCow with RoboCow in Series 3 and had to remove the head because it was overweight. Yeah. And now with an extra 20 kilo weight limit,
what I don't get is looking at the Spider is how much did this armor weigh? Because
a lot, clearly.
Because how the hell does that thing weigh 100 kilograms?
I don't know. It's got so many holes in it and bits where the fire could just take over it. But
I think it's a bit like the Shogun. It's got so much kit inside it, or maybe it's got a really thick chassis, or so. I don't freaking know.
I don't know, but either way, the Spider really, apart from a few nudges on Napalm 2, was pretty much a non-entity after they killed themselves. So it was... Now you think, alright, Gemini's going to do it. One of the Gemini twins flips itself over at some point, trying to flip over. Napalm almost gets flipped over at one point, but then it just rolls back, and rather than flipping it again, they miss. One flips over. The other one goes, I'm going to save you! Oh no, I'm stuck as well! Help! And then
I've fallen and I can't get up!
It was so funny, and then Napalm just kind of moving at 1 mile an hour, just did we win? Oh my god!
You know what? Little bit reminds me of that little flip. It reminds me of the Care Bears movie when that lion tries to save them all from that plant thing.
Failure.
And then one leaf just comes on and knocks him out the way.
it's just all these really dumb things that keep happening, and it's just
Like, I mean, even the Napalm team, they didn't know they won until Craig told them.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of going, holy shit, we actually won a battle on our own merits? Barely. The hell? I mean...
watching back the fight, like, it's really funny, like, even, like, Jonathan and the House Robots were just like, I've had enough of this fight.
Yeah.
Like, Shunt just grabs, like, Gemini gets back on its wheels and tries to flip over Napalm, and then Shunt just comes in by the back of them and just dumps them both in the pit. He doesn't even do anything. He's like, no, just fuck it.
Although sadly, this is the most that Napalm 2 ever did in Extreme and Robot and in series. But it was such a dumb fight. This was. I mean, again, Gemini was the only robot that could have probably was going to win this, and Napalm 2 does nothing and wins.
I gotta agree with the guys from the Good Rebella when they say what the Annihilator that we could have had.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Gemini would have been so cool to have in there.
Not only that, but imagine if Bulldog Brood and Atomic hadn't been wrecked.
Oh, yeah, and also having Tornado potentially as well in the last one.
To be fair, though, I do have to say this. Despite how the Annihilator did turn out, I thought it was quite good, despite we had a few fallouts, because of just how wrecked everyone got.
I loved it just for seeing Hippopotamus get destroyed. That was fun.
Well, that too.
I'm only disappointed that they didn't. Because what I don't get is they wouldn't put Napalm back in, even though in its first fight it had to be pushed in.
Yeah.
That's a highlight.
If that's not working. You may as well just put the. I mean, not being funny. If Atomic and Bulldog Brood could make it, surely you could put something. I think what they were hoping was it would get wrecked to make good camera time, which it did, in all fairness.
You know, it's kind of sad when I think probably David Crosby in a Napalm shirt would do better than Napalm 2. Probably. He's that hyper.
What I don't get about that first round Annihilator is, though, why wasn't Napalm counted out? Because it was barely moved. Like, after it's got a beating from everyone. After Killbot picked it up and put it back down, did it move?
Mind you, in the long run, it didn't really make a difference.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, I don't get that either. But Napalm 2, yeah, they got a place in the mayhem.
In the Annihilator.
Hell, I think the Spider would be more worthy, but you know.
That gave me an aneurysm just thinking that. Jesus Christ.
Well, okay, let's move on to the final event.
On the plus side, at least we got to look forward to Napalm getting wrecked.
Yay! But yes, and we'll get to the Flipper Frenzy, which actually, and a lot of times in Robot Wars, will hype up a big event at the end, and most of the time it's just, oh, here's a tank running over a flat robot, or here's Manta getting picked up by Panic Attack.
Here's Razor dying in 5 seconds again.
Yeah, but here, this is actually legitimately a decent little bit of fun. Like, you get to see obviously they're supposed to be fighting each other. Fuck that. Let's just kill Sergeant Bash. Why not?
What was the game? They wanted to get the first House Robot Uta.
Yeah, and that was they almost did. Like between
almost did.
Yeah, almost did. But actually, I've got to admit that flip that Chaos. I think obviously Bigger Brother was on that flipped over them. It was
Bigger Brother and Chaos 2 together that they threw Sergeant Bash up.
Yeah, I mean, Willoughby Cheese just fucked off into the corner and got beaten up by Matilda. That's literally they didn't.
Yeah, I gotta say that's the only one thing is like if they really wanted to do it, they picked the wrong robot to go after Matilda. It should have been Bigger Brother that went after Matilda,
or Chaos 2,
or Thermidor.
Yeah, but actually,
Really Big Cheese is really big
anything but Really Big Cheese.
Yeah, I mean they died. I mean they didn't really do anything in the fight. I mean they just kind of buggered off somewhere, and then the next time you see them, they're fighting for their life against Matilda, and one big hit kills them, and then Bigger Brother dies because it flipped. It's probably beaten up from the main series, honestly.
Did it get? I think its link fell out because it just stopped.
Yeah, the flipper just lifted up and stopped.
It was not closed; it just died. Chaos 2 got stuck on its side somehow, and then couldn't get down after that.
It's fallen, and it also fell and couldn't get up. I mean,
Thermidor didn't attack it. Everyone turns around and says that it attacked it, but if you watch the replays, you can see
it was Matilda.
Yeah, Matilda.
Yeah, Matilda.
Yeah. I mean, I have to commend that really good flip by Chaos 2 on Sergeant Bash. It went really high into the air for a house robot. Just like most house robots just fall over.
What I also forgot is how close Chaos 2 got to flipping out Shunt as well.
Yeah,
in the challenge belt with
yeah. These house, I mean, they are the easiest house robots to flip over. I mean, this is the reason why it took ages for robots like Mr. Psycho or Dead Metal to get flipped over, is because they're just the way they're built, or the size, or the kind of the wide. In case of Dead Metal, he's so wide that it takes a robot like Gravity or Apollo to flip him over. But these three house robots, they're the easiest ones. They're so compact, so they're just every robot flips. Hell, Recyclops flipped over Matilda, so
Well, technically, for Series 5 point, apart from Refbot, Sergeant Bash was the second heaviest house robot.
I think it's just his shape. I think he just sees. Once you get him over, there's nothing you can do.
It's so thin.
Yeah, he's also there wasn't the fact he was probably the least offensive house robot as well.
Yeah.
So but it didn't help.
Why it weighed so much was because it was massive gas canister for its flamethrower.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why it weighed so much.
If Wheelosaurus could beat you, then
Which I gotta say, the BBC Health and Safety team must have been shitting themselves when they see when Sergeant Bash's flamethrower was falling off, and you can see gas escaping from it.
Oh god, yeah. I'm surprised that it didn't
especially
explode.
with all the flamethrowers on the arena sidewall.
I'm so surprised it didn't explode at any point on camera. Honestly, the amount of times it's been hit and knocked over and taken out. But hell, the big cheese in Series 3 just took out the entire back end of it, just ripped it out just by lifting it up. So, but I mean, this fight. I mean, honestly, one of my favourite bits about this fight wasn't really the fact that none of the robots actually fought each other, but it was the fact that I loved the banter at the end of this episode with the Craig and the teams. That was so. This is one of my highlights. I mean, I just love the fact that the technical crew are like, "Hey, oh, you beat us.
Go back to your toys. Go back to your toys."
He has such great banter, especially with the bigger brother and the Chaos 2 teams. Just those two, I'll try to flip him out. Yeah, almost. I almost got him. Yeah, I almost got him. And then I declare the winner because you're the one fucking moving. So it's yeah. Together. That caused that damage, but yeah, this Flipper Frenzy, I agree with you, Anderson. From a technical standpoint, the actual battle was crap, but the actual entertainment value really, and the banter afterwards, makes it worthwhile. And honestly, that's why I don't care about the battle being shit, because it was all just meant to be fun at the end of the day.
And also, it's a classic. There's a classic case of JP being a bit late to the party when they've already flipped over. Sergeant Bash goes, "There's something going on between these teams."
No shit, really.
Really, JP?
I don't know.
You could even tell that it was pre-planned because you could actually see Roger Plant motion of thumbs down to the other booth.
Yeah,
I think it was him, and I think it was them and Bigger Brother in one booth, and then Thermidor and Chaos 2 in the other. And you can see him motion of thumbs down to show that tell the other guys in the other two teams that they died in the corner.
Yeah, if it wasn't,
it was planned.
If it wasn't apparent,
but it was Well, I think it was planned between the team. I don't think the House Roboteers knew until
until they found out. I think we'll go on to final thoughts in that case. Overall, this was a great episode. I think it was entertaining. At least every battle had something in it, whether it was good, bad, or just dumb. It was at least there was something good in it. Even the Dominate Executioner fight was at least kind of funny for how bad it was. All that build up for 20 seconds of battle. But overall, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 if I had to. Honestly,
the way I look at Robot Wars is there's two things to it. There's two sides to it: the battles and the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
The battles were great. The ones that were good were great. And the battles that weren't great had amazing spectacle to make up for it. So I can't fault it really.
Apart from the mayhem, because it was a shit fight. It's spectacle wise, it's pretty shit as well, but it's still funny.
Yeah,
it's still funny. Yeah. I wouldn't go as high as 8 out of 10. I'd probably say 7.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would say 7 too. I mean, look, the Wild Thing Tornado fight is just a straight up great fight. The tag team is actually kind of both, because you've got it's a good fight, but you've also got the fun side with the Deer Tour guys, and also one of my favourite moments of JP commentary in that fight, which I didn't mention until now, is where JP goes, "And somehow Deer Tour's on fire. Why am I surprised by that? Deer Tour's always on fire."
Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, that was the heat. Next time we actually have stuff happening, I guess. We have the RIP to Bulldog Breed, the shit German battle, the quote-unquote vengeance battle, Team Plunderhead 5 and Mega Morg, and 2 all-star battles for the price of 1. So I'm Jimjamatic, signing off.
Oh, I'm Alexthehunted. I'm Alexthehunted, not paying attention.
And I'm Anderson9132, and I'm sober for once.